All right, today in snowy Washington, D.C., we have Coach Clif Brooks. Coach Cliff is a personal trainer. He is an accountability coach. He helps people get their life on track, helps them lose weight, helps them get healthy, does a lot of work in the peptide world. And Coach Cliff, thank you so much for being on, brother. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited to have a conversation with you today.
So when someone comes to you, what is their biggest hang up? What is their biggest fear? Is it where they're going, I'm tired, I'm fat, and I just can't take it anymore, and they want to do something? What is it that brings somebody to you?
Well, that's many different things. But the main reason that are you asking why they're stuck or what brings them to me? Because these are two completely different things.
What makes them stuck?
So there's nothing that makes them stuck except for themselves. It all starts and stops in your mind. If you believe you can, if you believe you can't, you're right both ways. Now, most people are so committed to being where they are and believing the nonsense that they tell themselves every day. They've lied to themselves over and over again that there's nothing that they can do. They're stuck. They've tried everything. And if you keep believing that, then that's the lifestyle you're going to live. One of my coaches actually told me, you're not stuck. The problem is you're right where you want to be. Because if you wanted to make a change in your life, you would make a change in your life. So when someone comes to me and they start telling me everything that they've done and what they're doing, I'm like, has it worked for you? The answer is no, it hasn't worked for them. And then a lot of them will try to tell me, well, I'm used to doing this, I'm used to doing that. So I ask them a question. I'm like, well, are you here to tell me what you're doing or are you here to get some help? Because those are two different things. If you're here for justification that nothing is going to work for you, I'm not your guy because that's bullshit. I've done this for 27 years and I've helped literally thousands of men and women to change their lives. And the only people that are stuck are people that refuse to listen. The ones who say, I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. If you truly knew what to do, you would actually be doing it. So you don't know what you're doing. And the men that I work with and the women that I work with are in their 40s. So a lot of them try to think back of what worked for them when they were in their 20s. Well, guess what? Father Time doesn't play fair. What worked for you 20 years ago is absolutely not going to work for you now. You don't have the same energy. Your body is different. Your time restraints are different. Your commitments are different. And if you're trying to do the same things that happened back then, it's not going to work. And then I have to ask them a question. Most people get mad when I tell them this. Look in the mirror. Imagine you just got out of the shower this morning. You're looking in the mirror at your naked body. Where do you rate yourself on a scale of A through F? Because everything that you know about health, fitness, and nutrition, a lifetime worth of knowledge is staring right back at you. So if you're on this call with me, you better not say anything above a B, anything above an A or a B is definitely off the table because if you thought you were that good, we would not be having this conversation right now. And then they get upset. But I hold mirrors to people and people don't, and they're not upset at me. They're upset that they finally had someone hold a mirror to them and they're upset with the reflection in the mirror versus upset with not being upset with the person who held the mirror.
A lot of people get upset about that. It's like with my content when I talk about people that have been abused by alcoholics and all this stuff. It really forces a mirror because the one thing I found out about haters on social media, they don't really hate on you unless there's something about it that's applying to them. If it
Hmm.
didn't apply to them, they would just keep scrolling on. I think that anytime that you look in the mirror, it's just like looking at your bank account. If you were to pull up your phone and pull up your bank account, what you are looking at is the sum total of every decision that you have made since you opened that account, everything that you spent, everything you decided not to spend, every time that you worked, and every time you decided to sit on your ass. That's what it is. And it's the same thing when you stand in the mirror or look at the scales. You're looking at the sum total of at that moment of everything you ate right, everything you ate wrong, when you decided to exercise, when you didn't. You're looking at the sum total of everything. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, I'm like, everything that you've done in your life has brought you to this moment. And when you looked in that mirror If you don't like what you see, you have nobody else to blame but yourself. And like I'm a recovered alcoholic and I'm going on 12 years of sobriety. And when I talk to people and they're like, I can't quit drinking, outline it like this for them. I was like, all right, cool. Imagine that you're sitting at home and you get the urge to drink. So what do? You decide you're going to go to the store and you're going to get a beer. Now, let's break that down to how many decisions that you made. First thing, you decided you wanted a drink. Second thing is you went and you grabbed your keys. Third thing is you went outside and locked your house. Fourth thing is you got in your car, turned the car on. Fifth thing is you drove to the store. How many decisions did you make stopping, starting, turning, putting your turn signals on, slowing down so you don't get an accident on your way to the store? You parked your car. You got into the store. You walked to the alcohol. You picked the alcohol up. You brought it to the cash register. They probably ID'd you. You gave your ID. You paid for your alcohol. You put it in the car. You drove home. You went through all of the mental decisions of how not to get an accident on the way home. You brought the alcohol in your house. You put it in the fridge, and then you took a beer and you put it to your mouth. How many decisions did you consciously make in order for you to grab that beer? Well, it sounds
Hundreds.
like over 20, maybe
Yeah.
100. So at any time in there, you could have said, no, I don't want to have that alcohol. I don't want to drink today. And you could have not gone into the store. Maybe you were driving and you're like, nope, it's a bad idea. You could have turned around. But no, every single step, you consciously made a decision to continue to go. You knew what the outcome was going to be, and you chose that outcome over your sobriety. At that point, because people try to tell me it's a disease. No, it's not a disease. You made these decisions. And when I finally realized that for me to sober up, I had to make the decision never to pick the bottle up again, my life changed. And no one else is going to do that for you. You have to have that hard conversation with yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, if I keep living my life the same way that I have been for the last year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, what is my life going to look like in the future? And it's only going to exponentially get worse.
Wow. Wow. 12 years. That congratulations. That's amazing. You
St.
said
Patrick's
one
Day is my 12-year
St.
anniversary.
Patrick's Day. I want to ask you something because I think this bears not only on drinking, it bears on weight loss, it bears on anything. And you said that you're a recovering alcoholic. Okay.
I say I'm recovered because I haven't had a
You're a
drink in
recovered
12 years.
alcoholic. Okay. All right. I believe that nobody does what they want. I don't think people do what they really want to do. I think what they do is whatever their identity allows them to do. Like, I have a friend here in Miami who is a sponsor in AA, and he's been doing it for 10 years, and he will tell people that I'm an alcoholic. And to me, the alcoholic is still a part of his identity. To me, what it says is it's something that I just keep resisting. It's something that I'm choosing not to do anymore versus being an alcoholic is what I used to be. It's something I used to do. That's not part of me anymore. That's not part of my identity anymore. And there is a difference between that. Would you agree?
I 100% agree with you. And that's why I like the concept of AA, but I don't like AA and I never went. And I was court ordered to go. And then what I saw there made me decide I never wanted to go back. There are men and women, well, men in the groups that I went to that were 25 years sober. Hi, my name is Bob. I'm an alcoholic. I'm powerless over alcohol. No, you've been sober for 25 years. You have not had a drop in 25 years. The words I am are the two most powerful words in the English language because everything that you say after that is a declaration of your identity. You're claiming who you are in the world. And everything that you say out loud, you are programming your subconscious. So every time you say, hi, my name is Bob, I'm an alcoholic, you are reinforcing that and programming your subconscious to believe that you are still an alcoholic. And I'm powerless over alcohol. I can't get past those two sentences. The only reason why I'm saying that is because I do understand what they say and I know what they mean, but I will never say that with my name because I will not attach myself to those two sentences because I believe it's disempowering.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And it's the same way with people who live a victim mentality. They'll say, "Oh, well, I am this, I am that." I get so many DMs from people telling me about how they're oppressed by all this stuff. And even after they've gotten out of these bad situations they're living in, they're still living in that identity that they have. And it's until they break that identity, they're never gonna get better, or
It's
things are
trauma.
never gonna get better for them.
It's trauma. They were in that situation for so long. That's who they believe they are. And it took me when I sobered up and I used to tell people that I would beat myself up, that I couldn't believe that it took me 15 years of struggling, 4 DUIs, losing my license. I got arrested and convicted of 4 DUIs before I turned 30 years old. I lost my license for 10 years. Oh, I was a disaster. And I just made up excuses as it wasn't my fault. It was the other people's fault. It was the person who backed into my car when I was at work and I put tape over my brake light and I got pulled over because of that. No, if I had not been drinking when I got off work, I would have got a ticket. I could have gotten the brake light fixed and then I would never would have gotten a DUI. All of these 4 times it happened that I blamed other people. A cop lied. He said that he watched me speed past 7-Eleven. I was in 7-Eleven. I got a big gulp and a big bite. And he pulled me over and told me that he watched me speed by. I'm like, how? I've got literal evidence that I was in the store. Doesn't matter. He smelled alcohol in my breath when I was in the store. And then if I had not been drinking, he never would have smelled alcohol. He never would have made up an excuse to pull me over. I would have gone home that night. The third one, I was drunk bad. So I was 25 years old. My BAC equaled my age. The cop arrested me for speeding. That was really bad. And then the fourth one, my brake light was out. A second time, I had just gotten my car serviced and they checked all my car and then the brake light was out a week later and I got pulled over for the brake light and I got arrested again for a DUI. And in all of that, I made up excuses as to why it wasn't my fault. No, it was 100% my fault. Had I not been drinking, I would have made it home every single night. I never would have gotten in trouble. But it took me forever to be able to take accountability and take responsibility for the things that happened instead of trying to play the victim and trying to get sympathy from everyone else. So I kind of took a detour, but what I was trying to say earlier, because I wanted to go into what happened to me because I want your audience to know that, yeah, I was a disaster, but you can turn your life around if you really want to. I was about 4, maybe 5 years sober, and I kept saying, I can't believe it took me this long to sober up. I can't believe I screwed up, and I kept beating myself up. And one of my friends looked at me, and I don't know how you feel about cursing on here, so I'm not gonna say everything, but
Knock yourself out, bro.
he looked at me and goes, "Shut the fuck up." He's like, "What are you bitching about? You've been sober for 4, maybe 5 years. How many people never get sober? How many bums do you see in the street that are drinking to drink away their pain? How many people are in prison for drinking and driving and killing somebody? You stopped. You haven't drank in 4, 5 years. Shut up. You're not going to drink anymore. You need to stop feeling sorry for yourself." And it was at that point in time that I realized, man, even though I had been sober, I was still living the victim mindset. I was still in a pity party for myself, blaming myself that why was I weak enough? Why was I so weak? Why wasn't I strong enough to change and stop drinking? Why did my life have to get so bad?
Well, thank God you did,
Yeah.
because you're lucky that you didn't kill someone or even get yourself killed. I have a friend of mine in California 3 years ago. He's not a big drinker at all. He goes into a restaurant, has 2 glasses of wine with dinner, gets in his car, leaves. Somebody who is drunk runs a traffic light. He hits them. It's completely their fault. He hits them. They get killed. And guess what he got charged with because he was drinking? Vehicular
Vehicular
homicide.
manslaughter.
And were it not for video cameras or traffic cams, he would have gone to prison. And the thing is, though, he owned up to the fact that it is my fault that I chose to go in there and drink and then drive, even though
Mhm.
he had all his faculties about him. But that's the crazy thing is that the accident didn't happen by his choice. The other person was purely his fault, but he did choose to drink and then get behind the wheel of a car. That was completely on him. Cost him $500,000 in legal fees to get out of that. Nearly bankrupted him. But
Well, it's never the cop that you see that gives you a speeding ticket. You just don't know what's going to happen when you get behind the wheel of a car. And I push my luck so many times. I'm so thankful that I am actually still here to be able to have this conversation with you. And hindsight's 2020. I know I shouldn't have done it, but I did it, and I've learned from it, and I've been able to help over 100 people to either sober up or to cut back considerably on their drinking in the time that I've been doing this.
that is great. Oh my God, that's so good. That's so good. I've never been to an AA meeting. However, where I used to live in Tampa, there was this big park that was very close to my house. I'd walk the dog. And during COVID, you had all these lawn chairs out there in a circle. It was just a bunch of guys out there smoking one cigarette after another. And they would meet twice a week there, and it took about a month for me to figure out that it was an AA meeting, and you would walk around and you would hear the same conversations every single time. You would hear the same thing over and over and over again, and, it really didn't look like to me any of them were getting any better. I mean, I hope they were. My buddy I was telling you earlier in Miami, the reason why he's an AA sponsor now is because that's where he's picking up women now, which is crazy.
All right. So
That's crazy.
because I do help people with sobering up, I've looked up a lot of stats. So the reason, look, all right. So if you are in AA, it's because you have an addictive personality. So a lot of those people, they sober up from alcohol and then they'll start doing other drugs and they'll say they're sober from alcohol, but now you're smoking pot or you're doing cocaine or something. Not everybody, but then you also have the Sexaholics Anonymous. That is a different part of an addictive personality. So the people that go from one room to the next, to the next, to the next, it's you give up one addiction for the next. I'm no different. I have an addictive personality. I gave up alcohol, I gave up drugs, and now my whole addiction is health and fitness and help getting myself in the best shape that I can be and trying to help as many other people as possible. You know, a surprising stat that I found is like AA only has a 7% success rate.
Wow, 7%. I wonder what I bet the success rate of rehab centers is even less.
It's lower.
Yeah.
It's closer to like 2 or 3%. For example, this is for a lot of people that can't understand what it's like to go into a rehab center. Everybody watched The Biggest Loser when it was on TV because people were like, oh my God, I can't believe they lost that much weight. 95% of the people that lost the weight gained it all back because you took them from real life. You put them in a very sheltered environment and you had them work out. You had them live life, eat everything that was healthy. You didn't have any other options. You were forced to do this. And then you changed. And then after that was over with, when they were back out in reality, they had no one there to guide them. They were back to their own self. And all of the things that they put off and cut out, they went back and doing them again and they gained the weight back. It's the same thing with the rehab centers. The rehab centers, they shut you off from everything and they force you to be in an environment where you can't have alcohol, you have no access to drugs, anything like that. And of course, people are going to sober up because it's just not around. But when you get out and you run into a friend that hasn't seen you in 6 months and they say, hey man, it's been so long. Let's grab a beer and catch up. You are going to be, most people are too embarrassed to say, nah, man, I can't go out and drink. I just got out of rehab because it's embarrassing or I have a drinking problem. They're not going to say that. So they're going to go and try to white knuckle it through the entire meeting with their friend, trying to pretend like, oh, I'm just not drinking tonight. And then their friend's going to, man, just have a drink with me. One beer isn't going to hurt. It's been 6 months. It's been a year. And you cave to peer pressure. When I quit drinking, I did not go into a restaurant, and I was a bartender. I was serving drinks because I knew I wasn't allowed to drink on the clock. But as soon as I got off, I would not go out with any of my bartender friends because I knew what was going to happen. For 2.5 years, I did not go into a restaurant. For 2.5 years, I did not watch TV. I did not listen to the radio. I spent all my time learning about health, fitness, nutrition, watching videos on YouTube about mindset and how to improve yourself, going through seminars, going through courses on how to improve my life. And the best way that I describe this to people, and you're going to understand this because we're about the same age. You've used a photocopier and you've probably used whiteout and put it on a piece of paper. And when you put it on the piece of paper and it wasn't completely dry, you put the paper on the glass, and then every piece of paper underneath that comes out has this little dark shadow on it. Well,
Hmm.
my brain was the photocopier. That whiteout was the alcohol, and the
Wow.
paper were my thoughts. So that whiteout was stuck on the photocopier glass, and every thought that came out was always, I need alcohol. I want to drink. I want to do drugs. I want to drink over and over and over. And it took me 2.5 years, literally, of going through reprogramming myself, scraping off that whiteout from the glass of that photocopier. So now all of my thoughts come out and I don't even think about alcohol anymore. But what did I switch? I switched that addiction for alcohol with an addiction for health and fitness. When I was trying to sober up, I would go to the gym 2 times a day so I would not be tempted to go to the bar.
Yeah. Well, it paid off. You look great. I don't know what you looked like before, but and talk about caving to peer pressure, like running into that friend, let's go have a drink. What most people don't understand is the power and the respect that you get by saying no. And you saying no enough times, like I can go to one of my family gatherings and I despise gossip. I do not like gossip at all. And if somebody comes up to me, it could be my family or it could be in my work life, they'll say, "Hey, don't tell so and so I said this, but," and I'll say, "Let me stop you right there. I got enough shit going on in my mind and in my world. I can't keep an inventory of who not to tell what. Just stop." I've done that enough times to where people's like, "Now he doesn't wanna hear that, don't tell him." And it's the same with eating. Love it or hate it, what works for me, I don't advocate it for anybody, but what works for me the best is a carnivore diet. 95% of all I eat is meat, butter, and eggs. That's it. 5%. Right now, these big sumo oranges are in season, and I'm a fanatic for those. I've been eating those. And it took me forever of telling my wife, because my wife is Russian and she makes all this, Russian stuff. None of it's good, by the way.
You better hope she never sees this
Yeah,
video.
no, she knows I don't like it. But it took for enough of me saying no to her now, she doesn't even bring it up anymore. Because I'm like,
Mhm.
"No, I'm sticking to this because this is what works for me." Is it the healthiest diet in the world? Probably not, but it's what works for me. It's where I feel and operate at my best. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody that they do it, but it just happens to work for me. But at the
Make
same
sure
time,
you're getting your blood work done.
well, I get it. She's a doctor. I get it done all the time.
Okay.
But by the same token, it's made it real easy not to get talked into or get tempted by somebody to go to a restaurant and eat bread or eat any of this stuff. It's because the power and respect of saying no enough time.
See, a lot of people will say no. So they don't want to say, I can't do that. And it's disempowering. If you say, no, I'm not going to have a drink tonight, I don't drink anymore, or I'm not going to eat bread anymore, I don't eat carbs, you are stating it, I don't do that versus I can't do that. And
Right.
that is more empowering versus disempowering. It's the language that we use in life that is going to help us make it through these tough situations.
So when you have a client who stops drinking, you have a client that loses weight, starts getting them in shape. Going back to the Biggest Loser show, what are you doing that's helping them continue that after they're done and gone past your help. What are you coaching them on to do to make sure that weight stays off, or to make sure that other drink or that next drink doesn't get poured?
We worked together for a year minimum. And the reason why is I want to help my clients through. All right. So the biggest excuse people say is, I don't have time. Life is too busy. When life slows down, then I'm going to start getting in shape. No, you're not. Life never slows down. You might have like a couple of days and then shit's going to hit the fan and you're going to get busy again. So why are you waiting? And I tell people this, I'm like, that makes absolutely no sense, because if you're waiting for the slow season, then you're going to be fine when it's slow. But when life gets busy again, you're going to fall out of your good habits to your old bad habits because you have no understanding, no teaching, no structure, no schedule, no plan. So I tell them, like, look, we're going to work together for a year. There's going to be different seasons, different holidays, different vacations, different birthdays, anniversaries, trips. And if I can walk you through and there with you for the entire year, I'm teaching you how to live for the rest of your life. My goal is to build myself out of your life. I don't want to be your coach for the next 5 years. Now, if you enjoy my company and we have a great time together, then yes, I'll still be your coach, but not only because you want me to, not because you haven't got the results that you want. Now, I have people that have been with me for 2, 3, 5 years, but the goal when I tell them, like, look, we're going to work together for a year and I'll build myself out of it. And so we start off, everyone starts with the eat less and move more. Wrong. This is why everybody fails. You need to start, that's phase 2. Phase 1 is your foundation. You need to find out what's going on with your blood work. You need to see where you are at with your hormones, with your gut health, with your metabolic systems. You need to see where you're at, because everyone's just guessing if this works or if it doesn't work. And then we also do a food sensitivity testing. Everyone that has gas, indigestion, bloating, you're so used to it that you don't realize that you shouldn't be eating half the stuff that you eat, but you eat it anyways because you've normalized feeling like crap. So we go and we start with the basics and we do blood work. Then after the first, you get your blood work back, we have a consult with the medical team, which takes about an hour. We go over 100 different biomarkers line by line with you so you know exactly where you're at. Then we put you on a detox. And I don't mean like you're just drinking juice for a week, because that doesn't work. That's the dumbest thing ever. You don't just drink juice and expect your body to change. You're literally starving yourself. That's why you're seeing a change on the scale, because you're not eating any food. And as soon as you start eating again, the weight's going to go back up. It doesn't work. Anyway, so then we help you with you eat a specific way in order to break you of your sugar addiction. Most people that are overweight that come to me, they are eating out a lot. When you eat out, there's something called the bliss ratio, and it also goes by bliss ratio, and it's the bliss point. The names are interchangeable. Big Pharma spends billions of dollars every year to make tens of billions of dollars to chemically addict you to food, and it's because of sugar, fat, and salt. You can look it up. Your viewers can Google it, bliss point, bliss ratio. They spend all this money to come to a point that all of the food that they make is going to chemically addict you to food. So imagine this. You can eat a family-sized bag of chips and then you're hungry an hour or 2 hours later. The reason for that is because they're empty calories. There's so much sugar, fat, and salt that gives you this mouth feel that you can't stop eating. And then once you finish eating, you're like, man, I'm still hungry. A hunger signal is really only your body trying to tell you, I need nutrients. I need proteins, carbs, fats, micronutrients, which are your vitamins and your minerals. But because most people don't know how to eat, they're like, oh, well, that was good. Let me go order a pizza, or let me go grab this or that, whatever they like, but they're not getting any nutrient value from it. So your body, after you eat and you're like, man, I just ate, I'm still hungry. Your body hasn't got the nutrition that it wants. And it's telling you, give me nutrition, not that you're hungry. So what people don't realize, if you keep eating the way that you've always done, that you're getting bigger, it's going to be a problem. So when you start eating real food, let's say you eat a steak, a baked potato, and some broccoli, your body sends a cutoff signal. You've got the nutrients that you need and to stop eating.
Yeah.
That's the reason why you don't, after you eat a healthy meal versus you eat all this junk food all day long and you feel like you're hungry. So We have to reprogram the way that you're eating. And then throughout the rest of the year, we do a second blood test in 6 months in, and then we look at the different peptides that you're, if you want them. We look at TRT if you need that. And all of this is done through licensed medical physicians through the peptides are not the gray market stuff that you can just click on a website and order whatever you want. It's actually prescribed by a doctor. Everything we do is literally, it's a concierge medical wellness practice is what I'm running over here.
That's awesome. A lot of people don't realize the vicious cycle that you just described.
Hmm.
Big pharma, they want you sick enough to need their pills, but well enough to be able to pay for them.
You know how we all talk about we want residual income? To big pharma putting you on a prescription for the rest of your life, instead of having you work out and eat healthy to lose weight, you become their residual income stream. Most people have never thought about their medications like that.
Now, I read something not long ago. I wish I could remember where it was that I read it, but Pfizer's been in business for like 150 years and they have never cured one disease.
Not one.
Not
But they
one.
have the patents to cure it, but they've locked them away.
Yeah, there's no money in that. And then the quality of the food that we have here. I travel around the world quite a bit, and you'll hear people say it, and it's absolutely true. I can go to Greece, I can go to Italy, and just eat like a wild man, eat bread every day, just eat all this stuff that I could never touch here, and I won't gain a pound.
Hmm.
If I come over here and eat something, there's so much bullshit in the food here that, and that's one reason why for me, it's like eating carnivore. It's not what it is as much as what it isn't. Because it is like one of the biggest elimination diets that you could possibly eat. And again, long term, it's probably not good, and I probably won't do it long term. But right now, it works out well for me. What am I not getting? I'm not getting sugar. I'm not getting carbs. I'm not getting all these additives. I'm not getting all this stuff. But if you go to other parts of the world, you can eat a large variety of things that you can't eat here because what you're getting here, you're not getting there.
That's true. Um, I don't eat a lot of bread. Gluten here in the United States, they call it gluten, but it's not really gluten. It's really, if you look deeper into it, it's more of like phosphates and things like that that are what's causing the gluten intolerance, but they blame it on the wheat. But if you go, I went to Italy and I could eat bread and pizza and didn't cause me any gastric distress at all. But so I understand what you're saying. What I would caution you about is your body's primary energy source is called glycogen, which comes from starchy carbohydrates. So that's the energy source that your body primarily runs on. So when you're not eating any type of carbs, you're not getting that. If you're looking at different diet styles, I'm not saying you should do this or not, just a piece of advice. Look into the Mediterranean diet. It has been said that that is the healthiest diet that people can eat, but it all really comes down to how you truly like the foods that are in the Mediterranean diet. So it's one that's anti-inflammatory, and a lot of people see great results on it, but you just have to make sure that you're still following your calories for the day and your macros for the day. So look at that as because you said you're not going to stay on carnivore for the rest of your life. That's one that.
No, I like the Mediterranean diet. That would be where the next step that I would go in once I get to the point to where I want to be.
Mhm.
I used to be at like 290. Now I'm at 205. 185 is where I want to be. What's really cool is now I can go to Nordstrom's Rack and buy clothes because they're all in sizes that most people can't fit in.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, if you need extra large or 2X or 3X, you're fucked if you go to those places, they're all snapped up. The smaller sizes, the large and the medium, there's plenty of those because there's not that many people in this country that can wear them.
I know. I mean, I have a muscular build, so I need to wear the extra large and things like that because I have to have room to move around in. The European cuts, no chance.
Yeah, I know. We go to Colombia quite a bit, and I actually will buy clothes down there, but I have to try them on first because sometimes they cut them completely different. Another thing, and I don't know if you've ever considered this or not, in terms of the way people eat here. I think a lot of people, especially with the eating out and with the social part of it, and I think a lot of this started when you had Food Network and you had all these chefs coming on TV acting like cooking is a sport, which it isn't. But too many people take food as a form of entertainment. And to me, I never looked at it that way, especially when I decided to really make a change in my life. I had to literally change my mindset in that eating is something that I have to do to live, but it's in no way a form of entertainment. And that mindset is what helped me stick to doing carnivore for so long.
Well, it's the social aspect. Let's go out and have dinner and drinks so we can catch up and talk. And even the healthy menu, when you go out, let's say it's 500 calories, that's all the raw ingredients. That doesn't mean that's not what comes to your table. When it comes to your table, it's probably got another 500 calories worth of sauces and butters and oils and everything else that they use to cook with. So even though you're going out to eat healthy, it looks healthy, but when it gets to your table, it's not healthy. But looking around, I mean, like, that's what people do to catch up. Hey, we haven't seen each other. I've got to eat. I don't have much time. I've got to go with the family. I've got this. I've got that. I can meet at lunch when I'm not at work. So you eat something fast and quick. And fast and quick is usually not the healthiest options out there. And people just buy what tastes good versus what's going to fuel them for the next day. Like, if they're in this country, 75% of people are overweight, out of shape, and unhealthy. Next time you go out, your 8 out of 10 people are going to be 20 pounds overweight. And it's so common now that people don't even realize that the 20 pounds is overweight because everybody looks the same. So if that person looks like that, if that person looks like me, 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 oh, then I guess I'm looking good. But the average is the highest form of normal. And if you want to be that, I mean, I can't really help you to want to better yourself, but you have to do that internally first and come to that decision that you want to improve your life. And that's the biggest issue. People are complacent.
You know what the biggest shocker is for me? Because I live in South Florida and, we got nice weather most of the time and people are outside and they're active and a lot of them really do try to live a healthy lifestyle. The biggest shocker to me is when I get on a plane and go to another city and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's crazy." And what's really funny, and I'm sure you've noticed this too, because you have any haters on Instagram?
Lots of them.
God knows I do. I love them though. They push everything. Well,
Yeah.
I love it when the haters get in fights on there too among themselves. It's just great.
I'll drop in the comments just to drop a bomb and then ignore them and let them fight between each other. I don't care.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And they think that, like, how big of an ego do you have to have that you think that your comment is going to make a complete stranger have a bad day? First of all, for you to hurt my feelings, I have to respect you. I have to know you. I have to like you and consider your opinion one that I value for if I'm going to even listen to you. But these people think that, oh my God, I'm so much better than you. What I say is the law. And it's so comical that these people just live in their own little world and think that they're the best thing in the world and nobody else compares to them, that and your ego is that big that you think that you're gonna affect the way somebody is. I don't know. It's crazy. I could care.
Well, and they hide behind private profiles and don't have the balls to pick up a phone and make a video of their own.
Hmm.
So I have no respect for them. But a lot of the haters that I get, the people that have the victim mentality, look at their profiles, which I don't do very often. Sometimes I do. If they don't have the little kitty cat profile or the one of the dog or any of that, and these people that live a victim mentality, they're all overweight. I haven't seen a skinny hater yet.
Well, they're out there. Believe me, they're out there. Because I'm in health and fitness, and you got people who it's ridiculous. Like these different coaches, they want to argue with other coaches about how they know more about nutrition than the other coach does, and that other coach is stupid and this and that. And you've got people that green screen other people's videos. And it's like, how
Yeah.
bad is your life that you need to tear somebody else down in order to try to build your profile on social media? I won't do it. I refuse to. I don't care how many views it gets. If I have an issue with somebody, I'm going to send you a message and we can have a conversation face to face or on the phone or message to message. And instead of trying to literally make you look like trash to the internet to everybody else, I'm just not like that.
You
I've
know, I
always scrolled past people's profile. If I think something does not like mean anything to me, I don't decide, oh, I'm going to drop a nuclear bomb, in my opinion, in your comments and try to upset your world. I just scroll because it doesn't apply to me.
Well, I think too, it creates more harm than it does good to viewers who really want to do something, because I really do believe in the principle of you can educate yourself into stupidity. And what do I mean by that? You can listen to your program, you can hear about carnivore, you can hear about all these things under the sun. You know what? All of them work if you just work that one and stick to it. They all work to some degree. But if you're reading this, studying that, researching this, researching that, but get so confused, you've gotten all this knowledge to where you've just reached inaction because you don't know which way to go. Have you heard this new term on Instagram called retard maxing?
No, thankfully.
Okay. It's a bad term, but it's funny. And and it's kind of how I've always done in my business. I don't like research or do much of anything when I'm going to make a move in business I just go out and do it. And where you really learn is through the actions. You know, it's like I have a sales organization, and you hear lots of people in the sales culture say you got to have confidence. You can't do shit without confidence. You have to do it. But the problem with that is confidence is not something you can just order on Amazon and they'll drop it at your door. Okay. Most people aren't doing anything to be confident in. That's where confidence comes from, is doing things that are confident that you can be confident in. So if someone is working your program and they've dropped 20, 25 pounds in a couple of months, that's a lot of confidence because most people haven't done that. That's where the confidence gets instilled, is actually through doing things. And the more wins that you stack on top of each other, the more confident you become. But confidence is kind of a broad brush because I'm confident to talk to you. I'm confident in my business. I'm confident about things that I do, but I was in Dubai recently. Would I be confident to stand on top of the Burj Khalifa and do jumping jacks? Hell no. Because I'm fucking scared of heights. But it's the confidence in what your abilities are. But a lot of people don't do anything, and that's sad.
Well, to add to that, when you were talking about people that study so much, they get analysis paralysis. They think they know everything, and then they know exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it, why to do it, what's going to happen when they do it. Knowledge without application is 100% useless. And at the same time, there's so many people who have no confidence at all, because confidence comes from keeping your promises and your commitments to yourself. When you don't do what you say you're going to do, you are telling yourself subconsciously it's okay that you are not living up to your expectations. If you had a friend that always told you, let's go out and get together on Friday, we'll do this, and then they don't show up. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Monday, we'll do this. Oh, I got so busy, I can't do it. And this goes on and on and on. How long would that person still be a friend and in your life? Probably not much longer. But when you stop and think about how many promises and commitments you make to yourself on a daily basis and you don't show up for yourself, you are that friend to yourself. That's why you don't believe that you can do anything. That's why you think you're a victim. You are a victim. You're a victim of your own choices.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people all the time, some of these people, I go and see these prospects and they act like they don't trust me. And I'm sitting there saying, well, you told me you were going to be doing this, this, and this. You never did. Why should they trust you? You can't even trust yourself. This is the sad part. If you have a job and they tell you to be there at 8 o'clock, you're going to be there at 8 o'clock, no matter what, no matter if you want to or if you don't. If they tell you to have this ready by Friday at 2, you're going to have it ready by Friday at 2. Keeping a promise to someone who's paying you and doesn't even give a shit about you.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you tell yourself you're going to start going to the gym every day and you're going to start doing this. And every time you break that promise to yourself, you're calling yourself a liar. You're willing, people are willing to keep promises to people that put no value on them at all. Yet they won't even keep the promises to themselves to which they should have all their value in. And that's the problem.
People, they don't do anything of what they're supposed to do. They don't. And I was guilty of that. I was like, man, why is my business not growing? I'm doing everything I need to do. And I had a to-do list that was 20, 30 things long. And everything that I marked off was busy work. Ooh, I marked this off. Ooh, dopamine hit. I got that done. Dopamine hit. I got that done. Dopamine hit. Oh, I got that done. But all the things that were the needle movers were always the things that I was skipping over because it was uncomfortable. So I never saw the growth that I needed. And I don't know what hit me one day, and I was like, "Why am I doing this?" So now something I do every day is I have a win the day notebook that I give to each one of my clients, and it's based on faith, family, fitness, focus, and finance. There's 5 keys that we work on. So each one of those keys is something that you focus on in order to move yourself forward. And then there's 3 things that you need to do each day. One for your relationships in your life, one for your business, one for your health. That is going to be a needle mover. And you have to do those 3 things every day. You get to pick and choose what it is, but this is the eat the frog, the slay the dragon. So you do it first thing in the morning, and then you have all this confidence built up because you did the hard things first, and then you start to see movement. Now, when you start doing things like that, you are keeping those 5 commitments for each one of those 5 different areas of your life. You're moving forward incrementally in each one of those, but then you have 3 needle movers that's really going to stomp on the gas and help you to speed forward. So by doing that, I have seen significant changes in my life, in my business, in my health, in my relationships. And it's because I took the time to take this to-do list of 20 things that was just busy work and distilled it down to the most crucial things that I need to do at this point in time. Then that's what dumps gasoline on a raging forest fire.
There's 2 things I do when I get up every morning. First thing, I've been doing this for 15 years. I read a devotional. Now, it could be Christian, Muslim, Hindu, New Age, anything. They all pretty much say the same. And the central message of pretty much all of them is be grateful, be happy, don't worry. So I read that for probably 20 minutes every morning. The second thing I do is I have stacks of legal pads at home. I actually will get on a legal pad and I will write myself a thank you letter. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing that. I'll express my gratitude to me, my gratitude to God. And it's amazing just literally putting paper to pen and literally writing down your thoughts of the things that you're grateful for and the things that you're thankful for. That was a total life changer for me. I do it every day without fail. Those are my 2 non-negotiables every morning. First thing I do when I get up is go pee, and then I pick up a book, and then I pick up a legal pad.
Gratitude journal. That you cannot have faith and fear in the same time. So when
No,
you gratitude is just the belief that you're being thankful for everything that happened to you and you're being faithful to the person, a higher power, to God who's provided it for you. So a lot of people skip that part and they're just always looking for the next big thing, the next big thing. I'll be happy when I fill in the blank. And then like you miss life because you're always looking to the next milestone when the actual journey is what is going to bring you the happiness on a day-to-day basis.
I was telling someone recently that they needed to write this gratitude journal, and the guy says, "Well, I don't know if I believe in this Christian stuff. I'm a Scientologist." I said, "Well, write it to Tom Cruise then. Whatever it takes, dude."
That's funny.
whatever it takes. Well, coach, if people want to get a hold of you and work with you and follow you, how do they do it?
Well, the best place I would say is Instagram. You can find me at Coach Clif Brooks, and that's Cliff with one F. And that way you're going to be able to see all the different things that we do as far as health and fitness. I talk a lot about peptides. And then there's all kinds of free guides that you can click on the link in my bio to receive. And you also get to see me just talking like this to the camera about what's on my mind. And you get to know who I am, because it's not always business, 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 because people don't hire people until they actually know who they are and they can relate to them. So you'll see me, my dog, a lot of just my thoughts on a daily basis, because I am who I am, and that's what makes me different than everybody else. And on social media, everyone's trying to be the same by preaching health and fitness in my niche, that me putting my personality out there. Marketing does one of two things. Number one, it attracts your ideal client to you because of who you are. And number two, it pushes away people who aren't your ideal client. And the people who get triggered by what I say don't seem to realize that I'm doing it intentionally to get you away from me, because you're not my ideal client. You're not the people who I want in my world. I'm not going to work with every single person, but if we have different mindset views, yes, there's certain times that I can learn from you and I'm open to learning. But if you're just going to come on and be a jerk for absolutely no reason, that's done intentionally to get you away from me and not want to interact with me. So that's why marketing is used for those two things. And most people mistakenly think that marketing is only used to draw people towards you.
No, I do things sometimes deliberately to repel people, to thin the herd, so to speak.
Of course.
One last question. And your Instagram has lots of value. A lot of it's entertaining as hell. And you're great. I've been, like I said, I've been a fan for a long time. How hard was it for you to literally start picking up that camera and start talking? Because I have seen tough guy Navy SEALs pick up the camera and just freeze. Like, I don't know what to say.
It's
How
because
uncomfortable was it for you to start doing that?
when people freeze, it's because they're trying to think of something to say in order to get people to like them. So they put on a mask. And when they put that mask on, now they're performing. Now, how much money do actors make? A ton of money, but they are professional liars. That's not who they are. So the average person who is not a professional liar, who picks up the phone and wants to start talking, but then realizes, man, if I talk, people are actually going to see me. And if they see me, they might not like me. And if they don't like me, then I don't know if I have the ability to take the criticism. Even though I tell people I don't care what they think or what they say, I really do. That's why they freeze. I honestly froze multiple times. I didn't know what to say. I wouldn't film videos. I started, and the only reason why I started was for business. And all I did was talk about business, and it was boring. It was a never ending commercial on my page. So I had to start sprinkling in things that I do and my life and who I am, my thoughts and my beliefs. And your goal should not be to be liked by everybody. If you blend in, you disappear. So you have to pick a stand. You have to plant your flag in the sand, and you have to speak your opinion and then be able to defend your opinion. I'm not saying you have to be right all the time, but you're entitled to have your opinion, just like someone else is entitled to have their opinion. And just like they're entitled to have their opinion, I'm entitled not to give a shit about your opinion because I believe in mine. And that is what most people struggle with. If one, two, three, four, five people are in your comments, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I said the wrong thing. No, you didn't say the wrong thing. You triggered somebody, you held up a mirror, and now what you said is causing them irritation. And if they were to stop and not be a keyboard warrior and figure out why that caused them irritation, they might be able to move past that sticking point, that trauma that stops them, because how dare you say something to offend them? What? How? That doesn't make any sense.
Like I said,
While you have
they
so
wouldn't do it
emotionally
if
go ahead.
it didn't apply to them, they wouldn't comment. They would just keep scrolling.
How emotionally unregulated do you have to be that you see somebody's opinion that you don't know and you get bent out of shape? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things too why so many people have so many problems there. Me personally, I only work on and am concerned about the things that directly impact me and my family or the few things that I have some control over. Okay. Just those 2 things, I have all I can do. I have all I can do. I don't have time to worry about all this shit that goes on out in the world. You know, politics and all that stuff, the new I don't watch it. I don't keep up with it. People ask me, "Well, what do you think about this happen?" I don't have a clue. I have no idea. And I'll ask them, "Well, did that impact you? Did that impact you in a negative or a positive way?" Well, no, but I think then why the hell are you worried about it? Why are you allowing that to distract you from the things that you need to be doing? You know, where I had this realization, I was sitting in my house, I was working out of my house when the planes hit the Twin Towers, and it was the first time and the only time that I was ever glued to a TV for 2 days. Because 'Cause I'm like, "Holy shit, I was just in New York. I couldn't believe this was happening." And after the 2nd day, I go and walk to the mailbox, and what do I find? I find bills. You know, the power company, the phone company, the people that I had my mortgage with, they didn't give a shit what those planes hit. They wanted their fucking money.
Yep.
And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm sad this happened, but I've gotta get back to work."
I truly believe that anybody that makes their entire personality politics, but are not a politician who are actively campaigning to do something about it, I think is a mental disorder. You
I
cannot make politics your personality and then you're not doing something to try to get into office to make a change. You're just sitting here doing your part, bringing awareness by causing fights on the internet. It's hard enough to change your own mind and your own habits. Do you really think you're going to change anybody else's? No.
No, no, no. You know, I did a reel when Charlie Kirk was killed, and I just talked about how sad it was. It wasn't a political thing at all, and I had 2 clients that I worked with. 2 of them were women. Both of them were living with alcoholic husbands, getting the shit beat out of them 3, 4 nights a week, just telling me how disappointed they were that they saw that post that I made about Charlie Kirk, and they didn't wanna work with me anymore, and I'm like, "Really? You're living through hell, getting your ass beat, getting put in the emergency room, all this bad stuff's happening to you, and you're worried about this? How fucked up
Priorities.
is that?" Yeah, it's crazy, crazy. Coach Cliff, thank you so much, brother, for being on, man. I really appreciate your time and your knowledge and your insight, and, folks, go follow him, Coach Clif Brooks on Instagram. You won't be sorry. He's got one of the best Instagrams out there for personal trainers and in general. I found you a good while ago. I don't know how, but I'm glad I did. And it's really an honor to have the opportunity to get to talk to you for the first
Thank
time.
you for having me on. I really appreciate being here and thank you for your time.
Hey, you are very welcome, brother. I appreciate it.